Hello, my name is Linda Sifumba, and welcome back to Conversations with my big sister. So today we are with Sharon. So Sharon is a musician. She's an amazing woman who used to live in America, but now she lives in South Africa. So we're just going to have a conversation about just her life in general, her identity. As you can see, she's mixed race. So she has both parties in her blood. So we're going to speak in depth about that. Sharon, welcome to Conversations with my big sister.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you being willing to have an honest conversation with us and just being a part of it.
Thank you.
And starting, a conversation around identity and the concept of that. So you're mixed race.
I am.
It's not a surprise to anyone. I know that you lived in America. So how was that for you? Like living in America, having to have parents that one is black and one is white. I don't know who was black and who was white.
My dad was white. My mom was black. She's from a Hispanic family.
Okay.
Her parents are from Dominican Republic. So for me, we were homeschooled from the fourth grade up.
Okay.
We were homeschooled. So I never experienced this confusion of who I am.
Okay.
And we were always welcomed on both sides of my family. My dad's side was very loving. My grandparents were very loving of my mom. So we always felt warm. And even on my mom's side, my mom's sisters and brother, I never saw this type of conflict of questioning race with my dad. Like it was just, he was another brother to them. So I was very fortunate to be grown up in that type of environment of love, of supporting each other in their race. So I think their story is a bit different than how we grew up, because I remember them discussing about it when they were dating, and they were in New York, and they were going in a taxi cab, and an old lady was like talking to my mom, "Hey, you shouldn't be going in a taxi with that white man," and whatever. And she was like, "I love this white man." So learning that and experiencing that relationship always, for me, I saw no color.
Yeah.
I just saw you, love.
Yeah.
And also where I grew up and how I grew up also helps with that as well.
Like the neighborhood.
Yep. And so I was
it
born,
like a small town, or was it like?
It was small town. So I was born in North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina and South Carolina. So that's, very black dominant area. And then when I was 12, I moved to California, Woodlake, California, which is dominant Hispanic and white. So my teenage years was 12 to 19. I was on the West Coast. So I was surrounded by a lot of white people and Hispanic. But the funny thing is, I look Hispanic. So they thought I was Hispanic.
Yeah.
Which I was half Hispanic. But I always felt I fit in.
Yeah.
And I was never, there was a few moments where, of course, growing up, kids were like, "You're too white," off of certain attitudes or words that you say, how you pronunciate and whatever. Or, "You're too Southern." But I never felt like I had to figure out, who am I?
Yeah.
Am I this side? Am I closer to this side? I took all of that environment. I always felt love where I grew up, and the friends that I had never put me down on my type of race, and they just kind of thought it was cool, actually, that I had a white dad.
And you felt like the real and true work began at home.
Exactly.
With your parents having to instill that confidence in you.
Exactly.
Before having to go out into the world.
Exactly. And family. My aunts on both sides of my family, my uncle, when you see them embrace your mom and their family, my mom's family, I didn't see it. Maybe behind doors, but I didn't see it. There was always that love. And so it taught me that it shouldn't matter your race. It shouldn't matter, what color you are.
Yeah.
You have to decide how you will treat people.
Yes.
So,
that's powerful.
Yeah.
And so going then to the bigger cities, from the small town, did you go to like New York and like LA and like all of those bigger cities?
Live?
No, just to be
in there.
Yes.
I would visit LA I mean, I don't know how many times a year. New York, my mom grew up in New York from the age of 9.
Yeah.
So we would go every year to New York. And it was fun. I can't say I was, how can I say? I saw the racial conflict happen.
You never experienced.
I never experienced it. Yeah.
Okay, so it never at all like interfered with your identity, and you never like as a teenager there was never a time where you felt like, oh my God, I feel more black or I feel more white. There was never a time where, because I know in America you identify, you being a mixed race, you're identified as an African American. So there was never a time where you felt like.
There were times where I can say when I was in California that I knew I was different.
Yes.
Especially in my church life, because church was different, in a black dominant church, and then in a white. So worship was different, and the way me and my sister sung was different than the other girls that sang. So I can say in church, that's where I can really see the difference. But my mom and my dad always taught us, be who you are in Christ, and you're gonna stand out. But be who you are.
So what would you say to to people, to young men and young women that are also mixed race, but they don't have, the fortune of having to have parents that are, instilling that confidence in them? Because I feel like you were so blessed to have that. And not even because you're mixed race, but I think with everything in life, I feel like they really made it very solid, a point about your identity and about you being confident within yourself, everything, besides, your race and the color of your skin. It affects everything else in your life. What would you say to a young woman or a young man?
I would tell them, when you begin to find yourself in Christ, then you can find yourself in other things, and you can begin to grow your identity in other things. And I think that's why I was so blessed. Both of my parents were ministers, and I clung unto God when I was like 10 years old. And I would say I never really departed from him. So when I have that love for Christ, he poured love into me as well. And he teach me to have a relationship with him. When we have that relationship with him, people may do and say bad things to us, but at the end of the day, God will put forgiveness in my heart, and I will move on, and I would say, okay, God, you know where you're taking me. Things may happen. People may be negative, but I know if I stay close to you, everything will be okay. So I think I would just teach them, find yourself in Christ, find your identity in Christ, and you'll find yourself along the way. God will help you. That's the best thing I can say.
That's powerful, yeah. And so I know that you then met your husband. I'm not very sure when and where you guys met. Would you like to speak about
Sure, I don't
about
mind.
That?
Okay, so
FYI, the husband is behind the camera, guys. Just letting you know.
Me and my husband met. I was 18 years old, 2008. We have a camp meeting in Portland, Oregon, because our church is worldwide. So this is the headquarters in Portland, Oregon. So people will come for 2 weeks from all over the world, and we'll have revivals. Church 3 times a day.
Hectic.
Yes. And it was good for young people to be involved with different type of people and from different places of the world. So I met him and his brother. They came 2008, I believe, and that's how we met. And we just stayed friends. And then 2011, I said,
I think he's kind of a looker, this young man.
Yeah. So it just grew, and here I am.
Here I
am. I decided, after I got married, we had to decide before, like, you're gonna come here or am I gonna go there? But at the time, I wasn't really doing much. I wasn't in school. School wasn't working out for me. I was just working. I was really tired of the job I was doing, anyways. So I was like, you know what? You have your own business. You're trying to push your business. Let me just go there. What can hurt? So, yeah.
And how was that transition for you, having to leave? And I feel you were very close with your family, from what you said. How was that for you, having to leave a part of yourself, in America, and having to start out fresh because you were very confident and solid,
Yep.
but now you had to leave that
Yes.
solitude to
That's where the
start
challenge
anew. How was that for you?
It was very challenging. I say from the age, I moved here when I was 23.
Yeah.
That's where my identity was shaken.
Sure.
Because now I'm in a country that speaks 12 different languages.
Yes.
And in church, that's where the challenge was because they spoke Zulu, Sotho, Venda, not really Afrikaans. Afrikaans wasn't big around my husband's family, of course, because he's, Spedi man. So that's where the challenge was. It's like, okay, where do I find myself? How, I was portrayed as an Afrikaner here.
Oh,
people would just come to me.
You were
and speak
colored.
Yeah, I'm colored here. And in America, that's actually offensive to call someone colored, So that was a different terminology I had to pick up and accept. Like, okay, colored is not that serious.
Yeah.
So, that was trying to understand people and the way they speak English and their body mannerism and the way they talk is like, people in Joburg, they're rough. I mean, they got this protective guard. And, I grew up in the South. People greet each other. Like, hey, in a small town, hey, how you doing? In the shopping, oh, excuse me. No one was saying, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was like...
And I guess it's like that everywhere in a city, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like with us
New
as
York,
well.
same way.
Yes,
Yes.
like with us as well, like in townships, we, you are basically the community's child.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You're greeting, hey, how you doing, your neighbors? But when you come to Joburg, it's a different. It's the same with you guys where you grew up in a smaller town.
Yeah.
It's more of a family. But if you go to New York, it's like, who are you? I don't care who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, get out of my way,
Exactly.
I think when we come back from the break, I think we should delve deeper into the conversation of that your identity here and having the journey of how you maneuvered your way into finding the Sharon that you are today.
Okay.
Just after this, guys. See you just now. Hey guys, we are here with Sharon. So we're just going to delve deeper into the topic of identity again. How did you then find your feet? How were you able to, with all of this, probably very like a culture shock to you, how were you able to find the Sharon that is the South African mama that you are today?
Patience.
Sure.
I would say 2017 has been my happiest year since I've been here. So I would have been here 4 years, right? 2017.
Yeah.
You see, it takes a while because, like I said, church was very challenging. And for me, I'm a worshiper. So when I get to church, I can't even connect.
Sure.
And I would leave dry. And that's not the way we're supposed to leave church. So I prayed. I'm like, okay, God, you got to meet me somewhere halfway. So I said, God, if you can just meet me at the altar. I may not understand song service. And they always have an interpreter at church for the sermon, but you never catch it. It's always like delayed. Everyone's like, amen. Then you hear, oh, amen.
Amen. And like you're the only one, amen.
So I started, amen. So I just started like, God, meet me at the altar. And then he did. I would just have a great prayer service. And then I would take that at home. And I realized I had to really focus on my relationship with God at home. Because you can sit there and the devil can just go and work on your mind. And, I would just be angry sometimes. And then I had my daughter. And then you got, those hormones and, baby hormones.
Did you ever get postpartum? Is it post whatever
actually,
depression?
I think I did.
I'd love for us to talk about that, but right after you tell me about how you found your footing.
So after I, worked past that and then I realized, music and kind of just taking what I've heard at church, just the piano and just really tunneling my focus on God. I think that's when I realized, Sharon, just be yourself. You can't, you always get these people, you're African now, you South African now. And it's like,
they're
okay,
imposing this identity and
yes,
this idea of
yes.
you on you.
And I was like, okay, God, I had to learn
Oh,
and not try to,
shame.
like, okay, yeah, so I need to be.
Yeah.
So then I had to take steps back and say, okay, God, I'm going to take some of this. Yes, I don't mind learning how to cook some pub. No problem. I can do that. I'll work in the kitchen. No problem. But I cannot leave my American me. Sorry. So like I said, I think 2017, the end of 2016 was my breakthrough because I finally told myself, and God reminded me, Sharon, you're chosen. You have a vision. Just do it. Stop worrying about someone talking about you and this and that and that and this. So that's when I found my identity, was really being me. Of who I was. After 23 years, all of a sudden my identity was being shaken. And you had a South African woman, you have to do this and that.
Yeah.
Not like it was forced, but little hints, words. Words.
And it's like that with everything as well. Like,
Yeah.
I can relate, and I think many can with other things. Like, people impose things on them and their idea of who this person needs to be. They
Yeah.
impose that identity on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, you then feel the responsibility to take on that identity to make another person happy,
Yes.
neglecting the real you,
Yes.
So everyone can relate to what you're saying in a different situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to say as well, it's like, I wanted to say something, but it completely left my body. It left me completely. But then, I think everyone can definitely relate to what you're saying.
Be yourself. Be patient.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. That I think it was a blessing as well for you, having to be pushed to find your relationship with God in a sacred place.
Yes.
Because a lot of the time we make a mistake of saying we can only find God in church.
Right.
But I think for you, God placed you in a situation where He needed you to be alone and He needed you to be vulnerable.
beautiful,
And we all go through that. Like, He really removes us from things to really have a moment with us.
Yeah.
He needs stillness. He needs peace and
that's so
quietness so that He can do the necessary work He needs to do to you, specifically to you. So in as much as we might have felt like it was, hardship, but that was, I think, the biggest blessing.
I think so. That's a way of God molding us and
Yes.
preparing. And I also thought that's how God was preparing me for what He has in store for my life, especially as a musician and a singer, I realized that God called me beyond just my church, beyond me. And He had to take me and transform me and break me down. So I realized it's not by my own strength, but it's by Him.
Exactly.
So you got a good point.
And He needed to take you away from your family because He saw how protective and cradling your family was, that in as much as it was your sacred, your sanity and your solitude, but it wasn't going to give you and equip you.
Correct.
It wasn't going to give you what He needed to give you.
That's true. That's true.
And it was always going to be a thing of like, your family or whatever was going to come before Him. And He needed His voice to be identified in you.
That's so
And in order for you to recognize it for yourself, He needed you to recognize who you are first. And I think that's what He did for you. It's a beautiful journey. It's
and
just
it's fun.
amazing.
It's fun. It's fun walking with God.
Yeah.
You go through, we go through stuff, but at the end, when we look back, it's like He had a purpose.
Yes.
You don't see it then.
You
but
never
then,
do.
Yeah, it's nice.
Sure. And so, how do we say it? Is it postpartum depression?
Yeah, something like
Or
that.
is it?
I think,
is that what,
after the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, I think I experienced that. I didn't know it at the time, but like I said, 2017 was my breakthrough. So my daughter was born in 2015, April. And I realized I started acting different. I would get mad over nothing. I would snap at people, and that wasn't my character,
Sure.
to do that. So I had to keep praying, Lord, take this away. Like, this is not me, And of course, when you're a mother, you become very protective of your daughter and your family. And so I also became this very, protective, crazy woman.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's my eyes. Was I crazy? I had to ask my husband, was I crazy? But
Baby, was she crazy?
I felt like I was not
He
of
says,
myself.
no, you weren't.
Oh, he's being sweet. No, but so when I had my breakthrough, the end of 2016, when I was really praying and meditating with God, I felt like this burden was off of me.
Yeah.
I felt like I can breathe. I'm finally becoming what I was before. I wasn't this. I felt like I was dark then. Like I saw everything was negative in my life. I couldn't see positivity. I just wasn't happy.
And I just want to say, I'm so grateful for you to have it, to actually be, to be very candid about that, because a lot of women out there are dealing with that depression, and a lot of them are ashamed.
Yeah, and
to
you don't know
even
how to
say
deal with it.
exactly, and then it really overtakes them and it overshadows them. So I'm grateful that you're being very, very honest about how you felt in that moment. Because it's important that we delve deep into that feeling,
what the
so that
problem is.
they can know and see, oh, that's what it is, so they can be on the journey of solving it as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's probably some medication I could have taken.
Yeah.
But I don't think I knew what it was. I couldn't nail it. I'm like, what is this? This just isn't me. Like, I'm not this type of person. So, but it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard. And I probably even lost friends. Maybe.
Sorry.
I maybe even lost relationships with people because of, but I just want to say sorry, but it wasn't me, and I'm happy now, and that I'm done with that. Of course, sometimes it might spurk up, but I'm reminded that God sees me through, and He's forgiving, and I hope they forgive me.
Please, at some point. And I love that you have your spiritual practice, which is something that I'd like for us to talk about when we come back. Okay. Just your religion and your spiritual practice. All right. So see you guys in a couple of minutes.
I don't have to have $1 million. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't have to own my own mansion. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't have to drive a fancy car. Ooh, 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 ooh. I don't have to wear the finest jewelry. Ooh, 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 ooh. All this materialism is not me. No, 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 no. All I wanna do is spread the love of Jesus across the universe. Lord, if you send me to China, I will go. I will go. If you send me to Africa, I will go. All I want is to be used for your glory, yeah. To shine your light and your love around the world. I don't have to sleep in a 5-star hotel. I don't have to eat at a gourmet restaurant. No, no, no. The world is lost and confused, cold and dark, but I'm here with my hands lifted up. I'm available, I'm available. Use me, mold me into your perfect vessel, strong enough to let others know that your love is real, your love is pure, you still care for the empty souls. Lord, if you send me to China, I will go, I will go. If you send me to South Africa, I will pack my bags and surely go. All I want is to be used for your glory, yeah. To shine your light and your love around the world. To shine your light and your love around the world.
Hey guys, welcome to Conversations with my big sister. I think it's very important, for humans to have a spiritual practice. I know a lot of the time when I go back home and I speak to the young ladies at home, I speak about the importance of spiritual practice. And I speak to a lot of people that are Muslim, people that are, Buddhists, people that are Christian, people that are Roman Catholic, which also falls under Christianity, just different vast varied ways of how they practice spirituality. But I emphasize the fact that my spiritual practice is Christianity. But it's important that we all as humans have that, because I think in each and every human being, there is a spiritual man. And a lot of the time, the spiritual man would be in the future, and your physical man would still be in the present or in the past. And then there would be a part in our lives where we experience so much confusion that where your spiritual man and your physical man meets is through your spiritual practice. And so I've heard that reoccurring a lot in what you were saying as we were conversating, that there were times that were challenging, but the moment you were like, you know what, God, I need you right now. A lot of the time it was like your physical man and your spiritual man was coming back into alignment. Is that what it was? Is that, is that what your spiritual practice is? What is your spiritual practice? What do you do in terms of?
Well, I was like you, Christian, and my mom and dad always pushed prayer. Prayer is my conversation, my time with God. And they always taught me to have it individually. As a PK,
Pastor's kid, guys.
yes, we can lean on our parents' prayer. Yes, it's nice that knowing that they pray. But my dad always said at the end of the day, it's you and him. It's not me. Don't be trying to count me into this relationship that you have. It's between you and him. So I realized in order for me to get a step in life and to have clarity with my life, I had to take time to pray, to kneel down and pray, fast and pray. So that is my practice. That's my religion. And I've, as a wife and as a mother now, I find myself praying more. When you're a young person, you pray, get through college, and but now moving to South Africa, this whole different challenge, spiritual life was then twisted and turned. I had to settle on my prayer life, and that is what really got me through. So now, 2018, I feel like I can't let that go. I can't slack on it.
And and it's like with your prayer life. So what I want to know is, with your prayer life, has it changed from what it was before to what it is today?
No, it definitely has changed. It has grown. It has matured. When I pray, I feel like I'm actually I can connect to him quicker. I don't know if people, maybe it's just me, but sometimes when you kneel down and pray, you have to forget what happened. You know, we start running, okay, this happened today and this happened. But like now it's like I don't have to take so long to get to what I really need to get to, you know, talk to God about, you know.
Get that.
Yeah, so I feel like it's matured and it's grown, and I pray, you know, continues to grow in 2018.
And I think also it's more honest. I think
Yeah.
that's what, you know, makes your connection very quick.
That's
is
true.
your prayer is more honest, and you
Yes.
know yourself more now
Right.
than what you did before.
Yeah.
So you're able to identify what it is quickly, what you need to address with God,
Yeah, that's
which is
true.
very, very powerful.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's fun, man.
Yeah. And so with music,
Yes.
how did you then, you know, end up, you know, deciding that you'd like to, you know, record an album? Like,
Yeah.
this is something that I need to be doing. How did that come
Well,
about?
I've always wanted to be a musician. You know, I've always been involved with music. My mom was a musician. My dad is a musician.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I was surrounded by music. You know, I was in the band when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I played the clarinet,
What is that?
the black instrument with the open at the bottom.
Oh, is it like a flute? Like a trumpet?
Not quite. It's long and black with keys in them.
Does it look
Google,
like a
girl, Google.
vuvuzela, but it has holes in it?
I don't know. But anyways, and the saxophone too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know what that is.
Yeah. I'm glad. But so yeah, I always had this heart of you know, ministering and music ministry has always been in my mind. So when I moved to South Africa, you know, especially because my husband Clive is a musician himself, opportunities will just come, and you know, the whole thought of doing an album.
Yeah.
So then I was introduced to a producer that will produce for me, and it just grew from there. So
Wow.
yeah,
And this is what you're currently doing.
I'm now finished with the album.
Well done.
Thank you.
I know you have 12 songs on your album.
Yep, 12 songs. It came out September 2017, last year. It came out. There it is. And it was so fun doing it. It's a growing journey, and those songs are very personal. It's so diverse as well with music because of how I grew up. You know, I was surrounded by the radio station in California was rock pop, you know, Christian rock pop, Toby Mac type of style. And then you got your East Coast where it's very Southern gospel. Yeah, so kind of twisted that, soulful, and I'm a bit of a jazz lover. My dad was
Nice.
I won't say he was a jazz performer. Of course he wasn't. But he liked to scat a lot growing up. Shoo-ba-doo-bop-bop. You know, he would always do that around the house.
Yeah.
So I was kind of influenced by him as well. And my mom was a guitarist. So I love the sound of guitar. If you listen to my music, quite a bit of songs have guitar on
Wow.
it. Yeah.
So is it more praise or more worship, or is it, you know, then both of them, both praise and worship in the album?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, praise and worship. And it's also redirecting people to their personal relationship with Christ. Yeah, the songs kind of, I pray, motivate them and push them to really get close to God. Yeah,
Nice.
so.
I think that's what it is as well, because when I'm reading through it, I think also like just the titles.
Yeah.
And also how you've placed it. It's, you know, I will go, great is thy faithfulness, you know, stretching out, heaven, holding on, you know, let me move. Like when I read this, it's like it speaks of the journey that you've just articulated to us now.
Exactly what it is.
It speaks about, you know, I will go where you lead me, like you
Yes.
leaving America and coming, you know, to South Africa
Yeah.
and, you know, stretching out in
speak on that
faith.
song?
Yeah.
That song was given to me even before I met my husband, even before South
Wow.
Africa was in my mind. I was, I don't know, 15, 16 in California. I was writing, me and my sister, we did a little demo. I don't know how many songs was on. I think it was 2, but I always wrote songs when I was young.
Yeah.
That one came, I will go if you send me to China, if you send me to South Africa. So now I'm in South Africa, right? I'm going through old papers, you know, my old music. And I find this paper crumbled up, you know, not looking like anything. And I was reading through it, and then it was like, South Africa. I was blown away because then God was preparing me, and I didn't even
For
know
your
it.
journey.
But I was already saying, if you send me, I'll go. And here I am. I guess he took that. It was never in my mind to move to South Africa, but the fact that I found this song, to me, it blew me away. And I was like, this has to be on my album.
That's
because
amazing.
God prepares us when we don't even know he's preparing us. So
I'm excited to hear it. I can't wait to hear it. Guys,
Awesome.
where is it available? Where can people get it?
Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, yeah. And they can, if they want a hard copy, they can get it from me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do they reach you?
I'm on Facebook, Anita Thibela. I'm on Instagram, Anita Thibela. Yeah, that's how they can reach me.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's been great.
Really. But Anita, why? Is that your second name?
Oh yeah, that's my second name.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that you know, as artists, I like to. I was playing around with my name. What sounds nice? Anita, Sharon Thibela, just Anita. Yeah. So come up with this one. I thought it was kind of ringy. It's
Nice.
different. So,
It is nice.
yeah.
Anita Thibela.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate you having a very open and honest conversation with us. I know that a lot of women and even young men really could relate to what you said
Yeah,
today.
It's been
So-
fun. Thank you for having me. I love you so much.
I love you too, Anita. I love you too, Mama.
Thank you.
But thank you for joining us for Conversations with My Big Sister. Please don't forget to subscribe. So if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. If you're watching it on Facebook, don't forget to like the page and follow us and be a part of this journey with us. And also leave comments, because we'd like to hear what are the other conversations you'd like for us to talk about? What are the issues and situations that you're dealing with that you'd like for us to really deeply delve deep into? My name is Linda Sifumba on Facebook. My other page is the letter L. The other page is Conversations with My Big Sister. On Twitter, I'm at LNCY. On Instagram, I am _letter L. So please leave comments, subscribe. Let us know what else you'd like for us to talk about in depth, and we'll definitely bring in people. Even you could possibly be a part of the show. So just let us know, talk to us, let us communicate, let us have a conversation on social media and start having those real and honest ones. Chat soon. See you later. Bye.
Qoolerbox, people.